Labą dieną visi. Ir jo, čia neusually mano vidosas, kur aš kuriu per šitą YouTube, bet jo, tiesiog scrollinu per YouTube ir šiaip. Ir matau, kad, kaip matote, Fortnite is dying. Prieš vieną dieną Fortnite situation got worse. Uh, the end of Fortnite. Ir pažiūrėsim kelis videos, kodėl Fortnite miršta. Jo, pirmą video pažiūrėsim, nes aš dar nežiūrėjau, norėjau su jumis pažiūrėti, tai jo. Nepamirškite like, subscribe ir jo, galim pradėti šitą video ir žiūrėti, kas su Fortnite negerai.
Just took a massive loss, and now people are paying the price. Fortnite is one of the most successful games in recent history, so you could probably imagine the shock of 1,000 employees who just got fired by Epic Games on a random Tuesday. These were the people who turned the game into the behemoth it is today. Most of them only found out about their firing through a company-wide email. In that email, Epic reveals that Fortnite's engagement took a downturn in 2025 and has only continued to get worse. They're spending significantly more than they're making, so major cuts need to happen to keep the company funded. Now, every single person who lost their job here deserves so much better. This is a slap in the face to all the talents who made Fortnite. One of the most devastating losses, though, is the guy who made the game's mascot. This is Jonesy, the most iconic default skin. Even if you've never played Fortnite, you've probably seen this guy before. Well, the legendary character designer behind Jonesy was affected in the layoff. Well, this is weird. After 11 years, I find that I no longer work at Epic. It's been a wild ride, lots of ups and downs. Seeing Fortnite from pre-launch to today and being a part of making that happen was an experience of a lifetime. Seeing lots of similar posts out there, and I hope that everyone impacted by the layoff lands on their feet. Best of luck to all the folks remaining at Epic. I am now open to work. Wow. So if the guy who created Fortnite's actual mascot got fired, then no one else's job is safe. That's just the depressing, unreliable nature of the video game industry right now. The good news is, Epic confirmed that all affected employees will get a severance package for about half a year. It's better than nothing, but it still isn't an excuse. We're witnessing Fortnite's downfall in real time, and it sucks that companies just don't care about their workers. But what do you think about 1,000 people losing their jobs? When was the last time you played Fortnite? Let's talk in the comments.
Gerai, nelabai šito biškį supratau, bet mes pažiūrėsim typical gamer. TTG plays.
Go game the next, and then focus on the Simpsons. Hey guys, so this is going to be a little bit of a different video than I usually do. We unfortunately got some really sad news from Epic Games, and it's got people asking, is this the beginning of the end for Fortnite? So if you didn't hear about it, Epic Games on March 25th laid off over 1,000 employees, which is an absolutely surreal number to even say. That's a crazy amount of people that were affected, and some of those employees included people that were there since the beginning of Fortnite. These are people that
Čia dėl employees, dėl tų Epic Games dėl partnerių. Kažkodėl Fortnite, todėl ir taip nėra tokie geri sezonai ir ten šiaip kažkas. Nes dėl žmonių, kur buvo fired, bet jo. Žiūrim toliau, nes nelabai biškį supratau.
were in key roles that contributed to the spirit of what Fortnite is. I can't go through the entire list, but there's a Google Doc that I'm going to link in the description below. It was created by Lee Graham, who was one of the people affected by the layoffs. Now, Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, he said that this was not a performance-based layoff. And I know that Epic Games has a real high standard for people they hire, So all of these people are highly skilled. So on that note, if anyone's looking to hire, I definitely recommend checking out that list. Now I'm going to read the whole letter that they sent out and talk about the game modes that they're removing from the game. But I wanted to bring up 3 people that really took me by surprise because they've been with Fortnite for so long and they had some key pivotal roles. So first up, I want to bring up John Drabeck. He's a great guy. I've worked with him before. He's always at the Fortnite events and was such a pleasure to talk to always. He really cared about his job, and he was the creator marketing director at Epic Games. So he put out this tweet where he says, after almost 8 years, my time at Epic Games has come to an unexpected end. It's so hard to put into words what an incredible journey it has been, but I'll try it in this. And to top things off with how sad this is, like, he knows ball knowledge because he's a Fortnite veteran, and he uses the image from the end event. He said, Epic is a place unlike any other where you get to work with amazing colleagues. You know who you are. On Marvel one week, move on to a launch of Lego game the next, and then focus on The Simpsons and the wrap up with a movie premiere, all while collaborating with an insanely passionate, kind, and inspiring creator community. He goes on to say that he helped launch Paragon, Save the World, and BR. And I mean, if you're launching Save the World, you've been there since the beginning. He launched the Supporter Creator Program, a program that has helped thousands of creators and has been replicated numerous times across the industry. Created the Cosmetic Grants Program, giving creators early access to dozens of IP collabs each year. So essentially, that's like whenever I tell you guys, like, oh, I just got Lola Bunny and Daffy Duck early, like, yo, he's the one that set that up. He says, I could go on, but ultimately what made all the blood, sweat, and tears and a broken finger, I don't know how that happened, you're gonna have to tell me, John, worth it was the genuine excitement and passion I saw each time I had the pleasure of meeting some of the amazing Fortnite content creators in person. You are what made this seemingly never-ending sprinting marathon so rewarding, so thank you. And thank you to my amazing team without whom I couldn't have achieved half of the things I accomplished. And then he finishes off by saying, I don't fully know what the future has in store for me, but I'm excited for my next chapter either way. Love you all, and don't forget to thank the bus driver. I'm still shocked because I knew John. I've talked to him a bunch of times, and this is not a person you should let go. That's what I'm telling you guys. And I'm sure that's the case for a ton of the people that were let go, but I knew John personally, so I could tell you that from my experience. Next up, we have Evan Kinney, and he's a principal engineer at Epic Games, which means he's like one of the top dogs there for engineering. And he quote retweeted the Epic's official statement of the layoffs, and he said, guess who got laid off today? I am generally so confused and bewildered, like I spent the past week debugging the rivalry system while recovering from pneumonia. So he was working like on these core systems that we're playing with right now. And just in the past few days, I've had multiple directors tell me how much they appreciate everything I do. I've done so much for this company and our games. So many late nights, so many weekends, so many live events and competitive events, and new features and new seasons. Solid performance reviews every time, with multiple people mentioning how critical I am and what an impact I make across multiple teams. Just to be thrown out. I don't get it. Like, that is super impactful. And a lot of people in the community knew this. I mean, this tweet from him has over 10 million views. I'm just shocked. Like, how do you even find somebody to take over the role that all these 1,000 people were occupying? There's got to be holes, there's got to be gaps, and there's got to be some of the magic that just went away that day. Now, the last one I'm going to show you before I get into the actual article and what Epic Games said about the layoffs. Here we have a tweet from Charlie Intel. It says, the character artist at Epic Games that created the iconic Jonesy in Fortnite was laid off today. So yeah, the Jonesy character, that was done by Vitaly Nemushin. He said, well, this is weird. After 11 years, I find that I no longer work at Epic. It's been a wild ride, lots of ups and downs. Seeing Fortnite from pre-launch to today, like, wow. And being a part of making that happen was an experience of a lifetime. Seeing lots of...
Ты вот, ты вот вообще-то жмогус, sugalvojo, kaip supratau, jis sugalvojo, kad, nu, Džentina, kad skiną sukurtų, nu, tipo, arba jį sukūrė, nežinau, bet o čia žmogus, kur Fortnite yra ne Džentina, aš daunu, ai, aš daunu, ne Džentina, o va šitas, Jones, va šitas čia Valinsas. Čia yra kitas skinas, bet jo. Šitas Valinsas. Nu, matys. Kai video žiūrėjom, matys. Bet aš daunu. Ne Džentina, tas kitas vardas. Sorry. Iškusi.
Similar posts out there, and I hope that everyone impacted by the layoffs lands on their feet. Best of luck to all folks remaining at Epic. I am now open to work. That's just insane, especially that Jonesy is like the face of the entire game. So iconic, and you let that...
Va šitas. John, ne, si, icon jo nesi va šitas, neatsimenu. Sorry, kad sakiau Argentina ar dar.
That guy go, it's mind-blowing. Okay, we're gonna go through this note that Tim Sweeney sent to Epic employees on March 24th. He said, today we're laying off over 1,000 Epic employees. I'm sorry we're here again. Now, this is a reference to back in September of 2023 when Epic Games laid off over 800 employees. He goes on to say the downturn in Fortnite engagement that started in 2025 means we're spending significantly more than we're making. And we have to make major cuts to keep the company funded. Now, I thought that's what they did last week when they raised the V-Buck prices, but I mean, this must have been already in the works, so.
Ir by the way, dėl V-Bucksų dar. Pažiūrėk. Vietoj buvo 1000 ten V-Bucksų, ane? Seniau. Ten iš 9 eurus galėjai 1000 V-Bucksų nusipirkti. Spėkit ką. Dabar tik 800 V-Bucksų galite nusipirkti. Už 9 eurus. Taip durnai padarė. Neapsimoka pirkti 800 V-Bucksų. Už 9 eurų. I mean, pažiūrėkit į žiopą. Kiek viskas kainuoja. 2000 ten. 1000 viskas kainuoja. Po 3000.
They did that and this, which is very drastic. He continues to say some of the challenges we're facing are industry-wide challenges, slower growth, weaker spending, and tougher cost economics, current consoles selling less than last generations, and games competing for time against other increasingly engaging forms of content. So with that, he's referring to, PS5 and Xbox One not selling as well as their predecessors like the PS4, and then games competing for time against other increasingly engaging forms of entertainment. That's going to be like TikTok. We're only in the early stages of returning to mobile and optimizing Fortnite for the world's billions of smartphones. And in being the industry's vanguard, we have taken a lot of bullets in a battle, which is only in the early days of paying off for ourselves and developers. Now, we can all get into whether they should have, gone off the App Store and whether they should have gone against Google. But the objective truth here is that in those legal battles, they're very, very, very expensive, to the tune of like guaranteed $100 million plus was spent on just legal fees, which is insane. And then also with them not being on iPhone and Android, like that's probably billions of dollars for them. Again, I'm not going to get into whether they should have done that or not. I think there's pros and cons. What we now need to do is clear. Build awesome Fortnite experiences with fresh seasonal content, gameplay, story, and live events. Accelerate developer tools with greater stability and capability as we evolve from Unreal Engine 5 and UEFN to Unreal Engine 6. And we'll be kicking off the next generation of Epic with a huge launch plans towards the end of the year. I mean, I feel like this was always pretty clear. Like, they should have always been building awesome Fortnite experiences with fresh seasonal content, gameplay, story, and live events. I think they went off that path a little bit when they tried to do too many things. And then I thought this was always their goal as well. Accelerate developer tools with greater stability and capability as we evolve from Unreal Engine 5 and UEFN to Unreal Engine 6, which I'll get into in just a little bit. At Epic, we pride ourselves in only hiring the industry's best, so it is very painful to part with so many talented people. The folks impacted by the layoffs will receive a severance package that includes at least 4 months of base pay, with more based on tenure. We're also extending Epic paid healthcare coverage. He says we'll have a company meeting Thursday to talk about the roadmap in more detail. Tim. Again, I didn't see this coming because they just raised the price of V-Bucks. You think that would like at least delay a decision like this for a while, see how it goes. But again, with something this huge, it must have been something they were working on for at least a little while. It's just crazy to think about 1,000 Epic employees. That is incredibly sad. You also got to believe, like, who makes the decision to let go these 1,000 people? Like these specific ones, they're keeping thousands of people still. Like, I can't even imagine that. So with the layoffs, they're also going to be cutting a bunch of game modes from Fortnite, and I mean like fully shutting them down. So Fortnite Status tweeted out Rocket Racing, Ballistic, and Festival Battle Stage going offline. We've built a lot of Fortnite modes, and in some cases we failed to build something awesome enough to attract and retain a large player base. We are going to shut these modes down on the schedules outlined below. We're grateful for everyone who played. So they're shutting down Rocket Racing. After 2 years of high-speed competition, Rocket Racing will leave Fortnite along with all UEFN islands built with Rocket Racing templates in October 2026. Nothing changes with your vehicle locker, and you can still use your customized cars in Fortnite. For developers building car content, in April we're adding car physics, hazards, and track building tools, including the track spline tool and speed boost devices to the base UEFN toolset. Developers will also be able to build custom racing islands with jumps, boosts, and drifting. Now, I gotta say, for this one, I'm not super surprised.
Vien šitais metais kažkelintą mėnesį, o nebebus su Rocket Racing dabar. O, bro, what? Nu, keista.
I mean, I've gotten to Unreal and Rocket Racing a bunch of times. It's fun. It can definitely have a lot of fun moments, but I don't think it's what a lot of people were expecting when they were like, oh, Fortnite's going to create a game mode. I think a lot more people were expecting like a Mario Kart or like a kind of more arcadey, or this one was arcadey, a more, I don't know, casual racing game. This one to me is an absolute shocker. I'm going to read it last, but we got Festival Battle Stage over here. So Fortnite Festival is going to be, I lost my keyboard. So Fortnite Festival is going to stay. But Fortnite Festival Battle Stage, that's going to go. The Battle Stage competitive mode of Festival will go offline on April 16th with the 4020 release, and quests will be available until then. Music remains a major part of Fortnite and will continue to improve Festival Main Stage and Jam Stage and the music features that are available everywhere in Fortnite. This one, not very surprising at all. I think Fortnite Festival is pretty good. I mean, if you want to play Rock Band or Guitar Hero, like this is it. You know, Harmonix made this. So it's a lot of fun to jump into. I don't really play much on stream and stuff just because it contains a lot of copyright music, but I would otherwise. Plus the guitar is pretty cool. Now this one is a punch in the gut. Ballistic. So Ballistic will be removed from Fortnite on April 16th. Just like about 2 weeks from now. You can still play and rank up in Ballistic during its final weeks. For developers, first-person shooter tools and UEFN remain available. FPS creator islands will continue to be supported. In order for developers to build modes like Ballistic, more UEFN features will be required, such as custom weapon support, rank support, and additional matchmaking features. This one is a punch in the gut. Just even a couple weeks ago when they released the wrap that you can get for ranking up in Ballistic, I played it a ton and
Oh, cool. Makaronai.
that you can get for ranking up in Ballistic. I played it a ton, and anytime you'll see me play it, I have so much fun in Ballistic. I have so much fun, and it has, I think out of all of these, it definitely does have the most strong player base to it, like just a dedicated community of people who love Ballistic. And that's because it is fun. If you jump in there, it is fun. It does have its problems, all right, but I really truly don't believe it was given the chance that it was supposed to have. I know the teams behind
Realiai Rock ten tas Racing man nelabai buvo Fortnite. Aš jo net ne... Nu, kelis kartus žaidžiau ant streamo, bet jis nelabai man patiko ir nelabai aš jo žaidžiau ten. Tai realiai man nesvarbu, kad ją nuims kitą mėnesį.
Ballistic had a lot of love for it. I've spoken to some of them. I think that they were held up by a lot of higher ups or maybe technical difficulties. I don't know what it was. I can't speak. I'm not an insider here of Epic, but I can say for sure that Ballistic was not given its proper love and support. Now, following that, I thought I'd reach out to the CEO himself and see if I could maybe keep Ballistic going. I said, hey, Tim Sweeney, I love Ballistic and I know there's a dedicated community behind it. Let us at Jogo, which is my gaming company, buy it from you and we'll maintain, update, and grow it. I'd be sad to see this mode just disappear. It didn't get the chance it deserved. Now, this got a lot of attention, over 1.4 million views, ton of likes, and Tim actually replied. He said, we need to ship a number of missing UEFN features so that anyone can build comparable games in these genres and do it better than we did. These projects currently rely on complex UE5 C++ code and a number of areas that needs to be continually maintained. The engine and tools team at Epic is reorganizing around delivering as many useful features and verse capabilities as possible for building varied and feature-rich games. We have a UE5/UEFN split among the teams previously, and now everyone is together. Now, this is a tough response from him because, you know, he's saying things that eventually will be really good, but this is a problem that's happening right now. We tried to build a Ballistic-like game mode ourselves. It was 5v5 Legends, and we just simply, like, the tools don't exist to make it like Ballistic right now. It's physically not possible. And he's saying that it will be possible eventually, but from someone who's worked in the UEFN space since it's come out, I suspect that it'll be another year, probably 2 years, until someone can create something that's close to what Ballistic is now, and still it won't have the official Epic support. It won't be featured the same. Who knows if they'll even have like rank mode the same. Like that's a tough one. Matchmaking. I think with that being said, my offer is still on the table. We have an incredible team of engineers who are super smart, would totally be able to work on this complex UE5 C++ code. We'd work with the Epic team Like, we would be the ones that would have to do this continual maintenance, and we would be okay with that. And I've had so many people reach out and be like, hey, if you do get it, I'll work on it for free, which is a really kind and sweet offer. We would 100% pay anybody who works on it, obviously, but it just goes to show the passion behind this. Clearly, there's like a very, very small chance that they'll actually let us take it over and like make Ballistic better, but it's worth a shot. And if they don't, which is the most likely scenario, then we'll just have to try to make our own first-person experience that maybe taps into some of the magic that made Ballistic special. Now, there's one thing I want to talk about is that there's this general sentiment that UEFN is a large reason why this happened. And when I reference UEFN, that's going to be any game that's in Fortnite but not made by Fortnite. So I'm talking Steal a Brain Rod, or even my Super Red vs. Blue. Now, obviously, I'm super invested into UEFN with my game company Jogo, but I don't think a lot of people understand how that revenue split system works, and also what these games do for Fortnite in return. So Fortnite said that developers enrolled in the engagement payout program receive payouts based on player engagement in their islands. 40% of the eligible net revenue from Fortnite's item shop and related real money purchases is placed into an engagement pool, which is distributed among developers and Epic's islands based on engagement payout formula. So I think it's really interesting because that 40% number is tossed around a lot. Epic participates in that 40% as well. And I'm not going to go into the nuances of that formula. They don't even detail it like exactly for us to know. But if we're basing it purely off of player count, that would mean that Epic Games gets 50% of that 40% pool, which means essentially at the end of the day, they're giving away 20% of whatever the Fortnite item shop makes to these map creators. Yes, that is a significant amount of money. And look, I don't personally play Steal a Brain Rot, but there's a ton of people that do. And there's a ton of people who don't play Battle Royale. They just jump in to play Steal a Brain Rot or to play this other experience. And the more a person's on the game, the more they'll probably spend money, which means the more money that Fortnite makes. Let me tell you, they are not losing money on this. If anything, from the map, they're gaining money. Now, people can debate this a ton. I can debate it a lot. But what Epic really wants to do by incentivizing people to create maps and to draw in players is to de-risk themselves, right? They have Battle Royale, and that was really successful for them and continues to be. But overall, Battle Royale, as in the game mode, just across any game, not just Fortnite, you could say like Call of Duty Warzone or other games like that, like the whole category is going down. So what they want to do is become a platform. This way, they don't have to develop all the games. They don't have to put up that money up front. And if a game hits and does super well, they can go ahead and share in that success for providing the platform, providing the networking, providing all these other things, the audience that could potentially see it. So I think that's a win-win relationship. Another thing I seen was that a lot of people saying that collabs are what put us into this hole. I think that one's really tough. We don't have the data, right? Like, we can't see how much does collabs drive Fortnite. It's probably a huge amount if they're doing so many of them, because a lot of people are attached to these IPs that they're collabing with. And maybe they wouldn't have hopped in Fortnite if it wasn't for picking up this skin, or maybe they're more incentivized to play Fortnite because they can rock their favorite character. But I appreciate the sentiment that before collabs, Fortnite was super special. So maybe because of these collabs, it's not as special. I think the collabs did take them a little further away from the path of the storyline and live events and stuff like that. And people really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. I think we've seen just a decline of the performance of live events because they're not as special anymore. And the story honestly hasn't made sense in a long time. There was some pretty darn good story live events. Favorite gaming memories were these live events. They were fantastic. Travis Scott.
Realiai, atsiprašau, kad papuoju mikrofoną, bet realiai aš pasigailiu, kad aš tada nežaidžiau, kai buvo Travis Scotto eventas. Jo, tiesiog jau ir pasigailiu tą dieną, nes va šitas skinas, kur matote, jis yra rare. Ir labai daug profų jų naudoja. Ir jis labai geras. Bet yra lygų, kad jis gali būti sugrįž, gali. Vos ne 5 metai jau praėjo ir gali grįžti, kiti sako. Bet, žinot, negali tai būti tiesa visada tai. Jo.
Event, I forget the chapter 3 event where you're the mech and you destroyed the giant base, like my favorite live event ever. And then again, like I mentioned before, the lawsuits that they're engaged in, again, there's a lot of pros, so there's a lot of cons, but it's very expensive. Again, just in people that could have been playing Fortnite that haven't been able to, billions of dollars. And also the lawsuits themselves and lawyers are really expensive. That's going to be $100 million plus. And I will say Fortnite is pretty lagged behind on those devices now because of this. Like if you go to play Fortnite on your phone at the current moment, it takes a very long time to download. Now say if you were to download Roblox, it's really fast. That is a big issue and one that they know that they have to solve quickly. So I started this video with saying, what does this mean for Fortnite? Is this the beginning of the end? Now, obviously, if you lay off 1,000 people, there's going to be some big problems. We already saw the last season of Fortnite be pretty buggy. This is just speculation, but I would assume that things aren't going to be fixed as fast moving forward. There's also just probably going to be less things happening. I'd assume less collabs, less tournaments, less in-person activations. Again, this is just speculation. I don't work at Epic Games. I don't have any insider information. But I just don't see how letting it go of that many people won't affect things. So I think as the people who work there now adapt, there probably will be a decent amount of bugs, and I just don't see how there can't be issues when you let 1,000 people go. And I do think a good percentage of the magic of what made Fortnite so special was let go. Let's not forget about the people that are still there. You know, there's thousands of people that work at Epic Games. It's in everyone's best interest there for the game to continue to grow, for it to succeed, for it to do overwhelmingly better, so that they could hire more people, so they can get back where they were. I have faith that when the tools for UEFN and game development continue to grow, that we will get a lot better games that aren't just clones from other games, but the tools just aren't there yet. So they got to really accelerate that. I'll give you an example. We just released our game, Cash High City. I think it's absolutely incredible, but I wish I could have made, you know, the island 5 times bigger or 5 times more features, but we're getting close to the limitations that we have to work within. Right? We don't have the memory to do the absolute craziest things we want to do. And I think that will be resolved in the next coming years. So it's going to be an iterative, you know, moving process. But that's the hard pill to swallow when that's not today. I'm still positive and bullish on Fortnite. I believe in the game. I think Chapter 7 Season 2 was one of the better seasons we've had in a long time. We at Jogo will continue to make games and push things forward and try to really make unique games for this platform that is Fortnite, and we'll just see where things go. And if anyone at Fortnite needs any ideas, like, I'm here to help. Again, I play this game way too much. So yeah, I'm curious what you think. Let me know in the comments, and thanks for listening to this rant. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Jo. Jei patiko šitas video, like, subscribe ir kaip jis sako, mes susitiksime kitam vidose. Biški nebuvau pasisveikinęs, bet jo. Tikiuosi Fortnite'as kažko gero padarys, su kažko kolebins, nes aš tik per šitą sezoną tik grįžau į Fortnite'ą. Tai tikiuosi nebus ragas Fortnite ir, nu, kažko gero padarys, bet jo. I guess dar nufilmuosiu update'ų, kokių bus Fortnite'o, ar ją ten, žinot, su kažkokia gerą sezoną, ar ten taip panai bus, bet čia dar iki kitos 3 ar 2 mėnesiai liko iki kito sezono. aš jau baigiau Battle Passą, bet beveik baigiau Battle Passą. Jo, beveik aš baigiau. Ir viskas, bet jo, jeigu patiko šitas video, ką aš sakau, gerai žodžiai iki.